Hi, my name is Sahan Karimi, and I am AMO's engineer working on the Frequency Performance Payments (FPP) project. In this recording, I'll be presenting a step-by-step walkthrough of the FPP calculation process. The information I'll be presenting is intended for a broad stakeholder audience and is an overview only. We recommend that participants should read the Frequency Contribution Factors Procedure, FCFP, to understand more details. This flowchart shows the general process we go through to determine the FPP-related costs and payments. The FPP calculation process begins with reading different types of data, including power system frequency, unit power output, market dispatch, and regulation FCAS price and cost data. This whole process is completed once every 5-minute trading interval to determine the FPP trading amounts and the allocated regulation FCAS costs to market participants. Because the purpose of the FPP is to create an incentive mechanism for frequency performance, the first step is to calculate the frequency measure. This measure will show us the need to raise or lower frequency. We use raw 4-second frequency data in each region to calculate the frequency measure. This will later be used to determine the performance of units. The next step is to calculate unit deviations. The deviations of each unit are basically calculated by comparing its power output data against its expected generation or consumption, which is determined based on market dispatch data. Once we have both deviations of the unit and the frequency measure in each 5-minute trading interval, we can calculate its performance in that interval. A positive performance value indicates the unit provided helpful frequency response, while a negative value means the performance of the unit was unhelpful. We then normalize performance values of all units and calculate their contribution factors. Each contribution factor is value between -1 and 1, with negative values indicating an unhelpful response and positive values a helpful one. Now we need to determine the monetary values for the unit's frequency performance, which are called FPP trading amounts. To do that, we first calculate a factor called requirement for corrective response, or RCR. This shows the capacity value of all helpful deviations in a trading interval and will be used to scale the FPP trading amounts. Finally, we calculate the FPP trading amounts of each unit by multiplying its contribution factors by a scaling factor. This scaling factor is based on the RCR and regulation FCAS prices. Moving on to the other part of the procedure, that is the allocation of regulation FCAS costs. The first step is to determine the factor called usage, which indicates what proportion of enabled regulation FCAS was utilized by AMO within a 5-minute trading interval. This factor is used to divide regulation FCAS costs into two types, used costs and unused. To allocate the unused regulation FCAS costs, we first need to calculate the historical performance of units. To do that, every week we use all performance values of each unit calculated within the past week to determine its historical performance. We then use those historical performances to calculate default contribution factors, or DCFs, for those units. These default contribution factors are then used to allocate the unused part of regulation FCAS costs to market participants. And finally, we allocate the used part of regulation FCAS costs using their real-time contribution factors. I hope this information has been helpful. In the following sessions, we'll dive deeper into each part of the FPP calculation process. If you require further information, please visit AMO's FPP project page or email us at fppconsultation@amo.com.au. Thank you.